And so it's Wednesday. All right, so step one, right? Go ahead, download the reading labeled Reading 7 in the Documents folder, Cielo folder, right in the front page of Schoology, and the subfolder Mexico, right? This is Reading 7, the second Mexico reading, but in order to make it so there weren't, two reading twos, this is what we have done. All right, so check it out. Your evidence collector is due. Notebook check 2. All of it finished. Day after tomorrow. So do make sure that you have finished notebook check 1. With any luck, I should have entered at least the missings in already. And that you've got all of the gaps finished out for notebook check 2. All right, here's some short things from the lecture. Go ahead and pop open that document that you have to take lecture notes. Notes.Haiti and Mexico. Cool. Pause me, make sure you got it. And I'm back. All right. So, let's look over the collector itself really fast. What do you still need to find out about Mexico? You have a lot of information on Haiti. You have some information on Mexico. Remember, in the end here, what you're trying to do is compare and contrast the following, the sources of revolution, right? So, do you have complementary evidence? What do you still need? What do you have a lot of in Haiti, but you don't have anything for in Mexico? You're going to go ahead and try and look for those more. At this point in your research, you've probably seen some possible connections, right? There are a lot of similarities in government structure, in economics, in social groups already. You'll get to know more about leaders today and especially tomorrow. So, cool beans. What are some similarities and differences you've already found? And with that, here's your second lecture on Mexico. So we'll start with a quick just timeline of the events because it can get a little bit complicated. The Mexican War for Independence, much like every war for independence, isn't, just like finished in a couple of months. That's just not how that goes. The Mexican War for Independence lasted 11 years from 1810 to 1821. The leader of it is Father Hidalgo, who I will, or at least in the beginning was Father Hidalgo, and I'll get off the picture of him. Alright, so it starts off as a revolution from below. It starts off actually as a revolution. So, Father Hidalgo led this uprising in 1810. The uprising was a peasants' revolution, a peasants' uprising, and it was called the Cry of Dolores, right? It was this peasants' revolt against the Peninsulares, and in that revolt, many Creoles were killed. There was very early success with a large army, big air quotes here, of about 60,000 people. An army rather implies that you have professional soldiers or at least very well trained militia members who are armed. You've got a lot of peasants who are fighting mad in a big group, and 60,000 is nothing to scoff at. So the Cry of Dolores, though, is put down Father Hidalgo was put down in 1811. So after he dies, Jose Morelos takes over the revolution, and he leads it from 1811 to 1815, declaring Mexico a country in 1815. He writes a constitution, where Spain still controlled New Spain, and King Ferdinand returns in 1813. Alright, so the Creoles take over. Under this rallying cry that they are all Americans, which is really fascinating that the revolution from below that was very concerned over this super small minority of the population having all of the money and all of the power now becomes more of a revolution of everybody against the Peninsulares. So that, right? This convinced the lower classes to unite with, the Creoles who had been born in New Spain, basically white people born in New Spain, right? And they write a constitution, or they write another one, in 1820. And the conservative Creoles really don't like this change. Creoles don't want society to change. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but like powerful rich white people aren't like hankering for some change from below. Alright. Now, Iturbide defeats the Spanish in 1821, and small revolts were still present in Mexico going forward. So Iturbide is sent by the viceroy to fight the rebel group, but instead he joins with the rebels to beat Spain, declares independence, and declares an emperor. So you remember, because it's war for independence, not a revolution. If you overthrow a king and then end up with an emperor, it's independence, not a revolution. Cool. Okay. So that's the basic timeline. I just want to let you guys know where those events go in order to prepare you for your reading from reading 7 in the Mexico file. First thing you're going to do, add a few lines, the evidence lecture for Mexico lecture 2, which is basically all that shit I just said. Sweet. From there, you're going to read Strayer, Latin American Independence. The reading is in the file. Next, complete 3 lines for the evidence tracker. Remember that these should be lines that you will be able to actually use in your actual essay. Right? From there, complete the daily reflection. Next up, finish any unfinished lines that you have from this week or last. If there are massive gaps in your note taker, my friend, you need to fix those up. It's a 45-minute day, so bon chance. Right? You will need at least 12 complete evidence lines and 3 reflections to get full credit on Notebook Check 2. Right? I know what your assignment sheet says. I went ahead and made the due date for that Friday. Yeah. Right, so make sure that you're all set up and ready for that. Very far below is generally the grading rubric that I will use for Notebook Check 2. Also, very soon, if not already, I started grading Notebook Check 1. So, heads up on that. Alright, kids, good luck, and I will hopefully see you soon.